Judging other people's taste in books. That is what we are probably best at. And so today we are talking about David Bowie and how good his taste in books was, because apparently he has a list that he put together, presumably before he passed away, about the 100 best books, according to him, or his 100 favorite. I'm not exactly sure. There's no specific reason we're doing this now. I just came across it, like somebody had, I forget where I saw it, but somebody said, I just finished reading all of the books on his list. I completed this reading project, which I'm big into reading projects. I think that's a little weird considering he's a musician.
I mean, I don't know who this person is, but maybe they were like a huge David Bowie fan.
Could be.
And they were like, his top 100 books.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, unrelated to David Bowie, I'm pretty sure Larry McMurtry has a pretty extensive like top 100 list or something like that.
Oh, nice. We'll do that next week.
I think it's him.
And for the bonus podcast today, I'm springing this on Andy right now. We're going to look at Obama's summer reading list and judge that, which is quite a bit shorter. But since we are big time libs, obviously Obama's our personal Jesus Christ. And so we will be analyzing his list, which will give 10 stars out of 5 for everything.
I was wrong. It was not Larry McMurtry. It's another Larry whose last name I can't remember, but it's a good list.
I mentioned this. I mentioned this in the book club Discord yesterday, but I went to the old Number 6 Depot.
Yeah, I know. We have to talk about that.
Well, I tried to get you to go to a bookstore today, but you weren't down. So
because it was a 4-hour round trip, I got shit to do, man.
That's fine. It was a last minute thing.
If we went to that, I wouldn't have gotten home today until 5:30.
No, I mean, it's 10 a.m. now. It's 2 hours down, so that's noon.
We'd be there for an hour. We'd get
1,
lunch.
2 to 3. Yeah, 4. You'd be back by 4.
No, I wouldn't.
Anyway, so it was a last minute thing that we went to the old Number 6. And if you don't know what that is, folks, go to Henniker, New Hampshire, the old Number 6 Book Depot. It's an incredible used bookstore with 160,000-ish books. It's just to see it is quite something. But we went there quite last minute, and there was a woman shopping with presumably her partner, and the whole time I can just hear her complaining. And she's like, oh my God, they have every single Aldous Huxley book ever written except Brave New World. And then she's like, she gets to the M's and she's like, oh, same thing for Larry McMurtry. They have all of his books except Lonesome Dove. And it's like, those are the two most famous works from those authors. Obviously, they don't stay on the shelves very long because that's the book that most people are going to look for. This is a used bookstore.
Right.
They get most of their books through like estate sales, probably. It's not like when somebody buys one, they just order another new one and throw it on the shelf. So being surprised that the most popular work is not in the stores, not that surprising. So, but she also was looking for some Cormac McCarthy, so couldn't trust this person.
Well, so here's where like I differ from that type of person.
Okay.
Because maybe you go in looking for Brave New World.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't, whatever. But you're just like combing the shelves.
Yeah.
And then they don't have Brave New World. But they have some other, like how many people have read Point Counterpoint?
Right.
You see that, it's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh, a book that by this author that everybody knows, but not many people have read this book.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool to me.
I agree. I mean, most people probably couldn't even name 2 or 3 other Aldous Huxley books.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Herman Melville.
Right.
Name something other than Moby Dick. People would struggle.
Right.
So,
like you go and looking for Moby Dick and oh, there's a Confidence Man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Or, Billy Budd or whatever. Like, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we get into judging David Bowie posthumously, weekly reading update. I'm just going to do mine really quick because it's all the same books that I've talked about the last month, except for I've added Cigarettes by Harry Matthews from Dalkey Archive. It's great. Haven't finished it yet, but it's fantastic so far.
Nice.
And what about you?
Still reading Gessel Dome.
Yep.
From Open Letter, Guillermo Sacamano, translated by somebody. Finished The Combinations by Louis Armand. My feelings about it after finishing have not changed much from what I said last week. As a fan of difficult and demanding fiction that can be like complicated reads and aren't easily explained, I'm glad it exists. I know I tend to rag a lot on books that use ambitious as their superlative.
Yeah.
Or more so publishing houses that use ambitious to sell books.
Yeah.
But I certainly think it was an ambitious work of art. And I'm not going to like discredit it in any way because Louis Armand has written countless books and several of them are at least 800 pages.
Yeah.
What have I done other than ramble into this microphone? I don't have much to say about it. I think there were some times where it felt kind of exhausting. I think it probably could have benefited from some editing. Maybe with some of the editing I would have liked to see, like it wouldn't have been the same book.
Sure.
I would hate to say that it was just like experimental maximalism for the sake of being experimental and maximalist. But there were certainly moments that it kind of felt like that to me. Like, okay, what is the point of this chapter?
Yeah.
And I got the feeling pretty early on that it was going to be one of those books where there's not like a neat and tidy ending. But I was hoping that some stuff would come together and it didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and like tell people to not read it or whatever. If you have heard me talk about it or seen other people posting about it on Instagram, and it sounds interesting to you, like by all means, check it out.
But it's also a very long book.
It's a very long book, and like I said, it's complicated, it's demanding.
Yeah.
It's certainly not an easy read.
Yeah.
It just did not have the effect on me I was hoping for.
Not that it's always a great barometer, but that is definitely a book that you just don't see as many people talking about with even within circles of readers that enjoy weird, obscure books. And so for me, I kind of think like there might be a reason for that. I mean, obviously you are a big fan of experimental works, postmodern works, maximalist works. And so a lot of times if you read a book like that and you're kind of lukewarm on it, I just think, yeah, I'm probably good.
Yeah. I mean, I know like a handful of people that have it and have posted about owning it. The only two people that I can think of that I've seen like actually posting that they've read it and enjoyed it and yada yada were Philip Friedenberg, author of Cult of the Cactus Boots, which having read his work, talked to him, knowing his tastes, I'm not surprised that he loved it.
Yeah.
And then Travis Myers read it, and he loved it. And that gave me some hope that that I would find enjoyment in it as well. Not that I didn't trust Phil's taste, but you know, he's a pretty out there guy. He's got some interesting taste and recommendations and things like that. But I think a lot of what Travis reads like aligns with what I like to read. So I was like, okay, like that there's, I don't want to say a glimmer of hope, but like some potential there. And it just didn't live up to it for me. I don't regret reading it. It wasn't like I finished it and was like, well, I should have DNF'd this. Like I should have, seen the warning signs 400 pages in and called it a day. But like, it just didn't land the way I wanted it to, which happens.
Yeah.
And then I have also started reading Schadenfreude by Michael Lentz, translated by friend of the program, Max Lawton.
Nice.
And I'm about 220 something pages into that.
And how is that so far?
It's certainly easier than I expected.
Oh, okay.
Plenty of it that has gone over my head, but in terms of like density of the writing, I'm following along.
Yeah.
Some of the references and I guess wordplay you could call it, is lost on me. I'm enjoying it for sure. I'm not like blown away. Like,
Yeah.
holy crap, this is the best thing I've ever read.
Yeah.
Which I'm not surprised by. But other than that, I don't have too much of an opinion on it yet. I mean, it's a dense book, so both in size and in content. So
Yeah, you're what, like 15% in? 20%? Yeah.
20. I mean, it's 1,000 pages even.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
22%.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah. So you got a ways to go.
Yeah. But,
Cool.
Yeah, like I said, it's been easier to read than I expected, which is nice, going from one big book in the combinations to another in Schadenfreude. Kind of have that sense of like, is this a good idea? Like, am I going to just go from one hard, challenging book to another hard, challenging book that's going to, I mean, the combinations took me 2 months.
Right.
And then, Schadenfreude, not that it, I'm going to be done with it in like a week, but I certainly think I'll have an easier time reading that than I did the combinations.
Yeah. Cool.
But that's all I got.
Sweet. All right. Let's dig into David Bowie's reading list. We'll start from the top of the list and we'll just go through. We can talk about whether or not we've read the book. If we have read the book, what we thought of the book. And I had this pulled up. Now, where the hell is it?
I got it right in front of me if you want me to kick things off. Oops.
Yeah, go for it. What's the first book on there?
First up is, and this is not in any particular order, by the way.
Go from the bottom of the list, though.
The bottom? I got to scroll.
Yeah, you got to scroll. Because I think it's in order. I mean, I think it is in order of like.
Oh, it is?
I think so.
Okay. Jesus.
I could be wrong, but let's start with pick 100 rather than pick number 1.
Okay, so this is Silence, Lectures and Writings by John Cage.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
And for the record, I'm not going to drop photos of all these books into the video.
Well, you can drop the link to the Goodreads list and then let the audience go from there.
Yep. Do you want to click on it and just tell us what it's about roughly? I've never even heard of John Cage other than Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat.
So John Cage is the outstanding composer of avant-garde music today. That's the first sentence of the little Goodreads blurb.
Okay.
So I would assume he's just kind of writing about music and life and yada yada.
Okay. I mean,
this will be like a 3-hour episode if we read the blurb for every
Yeah.
book. So I'm trying to come up with a consensus.
I mean, based on the description of who this person is, I have very little interest in reading this.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why David Bowie found some
Yeah,
importance in
for
it,
sure.
but it's not really anything I'm.
The cover for this next one, Octobriana and the Russian Underground by Peter Sadecki. This looks like some weird, like 1970s porno stuff. Like, I don't
Okay, I'm in on this book.
Okay.
Dude, I am going to read the Octobriana, a kind of Russian Barbarella, is the spirit of the October Revolution. She became the heroine of an illegal magazine, secretly printed and circulated by hand in a number of universities, composed of samizdat material smuggled out of the former Soviet Union, rarely seen collection of Soviet underground dissent and resistance, many nude female illustrations.
Yeah, I'm 1000% in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like this is going to be a hard one to find, like, anywhere.
Let's find out. Let me look it up. You can get it on Amazon for $8 paperback.
All right.
Or $4 used in good condition.
Okay. Well.
So, it's only 56 pages as well. I'm definitely buying this.
Oh, this one says maybe there's more editions. Goodreads says it's about 130.
Interesting. Okay. I'll have to do a little more investigating on that.
Yeah. But yeah, that sounds like one that that sounds awesome.
This next one is Writers at Work, the Paris Review Interviews first series with a bunch of authors. Malcolm Cowley, E.M. Forster,
Faulkner.
Yeah. Truman Capote. I mean, maybe.
I mean, the Paris Review is a CIA front, so I'm not all that interested.
Okay.
To be honest with you. I mean, it's probably cool if you're interested in how these different authors approach their art and things like that. And maybe if you're fans of the authors listed, cool.
Yeah.
I don't feel very inclined.
David Bomberg by Richard Cork. Bomberg's career is a case study in neglect. The earlier popular canvases of this English painter buzzed with mechanistic imagery inspired by Futurism, but after fighting on the front of World War I, he lost faith in the machine age. Living in Palestine in the 1920s, he forged a personal figurative style that culminated in such pictures as the remarkably panoramic and detailed Mount of Olives. In Toledo, where El Greco painted, Bomberg refined his expressive vision and intensely physical response to the world. This actually sounds kind of cool.
It does. I have no idea if this is like a novel or
it's hard to tell.
Actually, like a biography or something kind of in the vein of like a long essay.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep this train.
So this review gives a very thorough portrayal of this inspiring artist, which provides a great deal of insight into the trials and tribulations he suffered in pursuit of his art.
Okay.
Sounds like it could be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the author's Richard Cork, and that's not David Bomberg. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Complete Tadanori Yoku by Tadanori Yoku, which sounds like a Japanese author.
No description.
Yeah. I mean, I like Japanese literature, but I don't know if I'd just like blindly go for that.
The Goodreads data shows that there's possibly no edition in English.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Did David Bowie speak Japanese?
I didn't know. That's pretty cool if he did.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Beyond the Brillo Box, Visual Art and Post-Historical Perspective by Arthur C. Danto. This sounds like some type of essay, philosophical essay. Yeah. In this collection of interconnected essays, Danto argues that Andy Warhol's Brillo Box of 1964 brought the established trajectory of Western art to an end. This stuff, what I find about stuff like this is that it sounds cool, the idea of it, and then I read it and I go, I have no idea what this guy's talking about.
So there I scrolled through the list a little bit when you sent it to me, and there's, we'll obviously get further into it. There's some decent fiction in there, and then there's a lot of these books like people joke about, and we've joked about how wannabe lip bros will put like Moby Dick and Infinite Jest and Ulysses and yada yada on their shelf so they like look smart, things like that. Like I have those books because I want to read them.
Yeah.
The Brillo Box thing, like that sounds like something I'd put out on my coffee table.
Yeah,
Like, look at me. I have books about art. I'm wicked smart.
Yeah, I'm usually just not smart enough to understand what the author's trying to say.
Yeah.
I read a good chunk of a book called The Writing of America earlier this year, and it was way more like philosophical and like a cultural sense than it was just about like the writing of America. And I was like, okay, I'm sure you're making some great points about something here, but I have no idea what they are.
That's how I like when I went down my like post Gravity's Rainbow rabbit hole of like, oh, this book talks about this topic that came up in the book and stuff like that. Like there were books that were recommended about the Herreros and stuff about, you know, Kabbalah and tarot and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm sure they're good books and well researched and probably hopefully well written, but like maybe I could just read the Wikipedia entry.
Yeah, we're not that smart. Somebody commented the other day, they said something like, you're not as smart as you think you are, and I was like, I'm exactly as smart as I think I am, which is not very.
No.
Okay, so I actually didn't look at any of these before. I just saw the very first couple books when I sent the list over.
When I say I scrolled, I mean it was like a
yeah,
and I just kind of followed along and didn't really look into any of it.
Metropolitan Life by Fran Lebowitz.
A witty, sometimes curmudgeonly, often helpful look at various fads, crazes, morals, fashions, and mores in America today ranges from comments on good weather to a pontifical guide for the truly ambitious.
Fran Lebowitz is actually in a great documentary, though, about like the New York City history and culture of bookstores. I think it's on Amazon for if you have Prime. It's like part of the whole thing, but
cool.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a collection of essays. It's probably cool. There's probably some decent stuff in there.
Yeah.
But
what do we got next?
A Grave for a Dolphin.
That's a pretty metal name.
Alberto Denti di Perino.
When you look at the reviews on almost every single one of these so far, the first review mentions David Bowie's list. It's like this is how a lot of these books are even getting their fanfare. So there's nothing about this here.
This is like a collection of short stories. That's all I can get out of the reviews.
Okay. I mean, based on the title alone, I would probably pick it up off a shelf in a store. So Blast Number 1, which is a terrible name for a book, by Wyndham Lewis and Bradford Morrow. And again, a facsimile edition of the first issue of The Blast, which documents in its original format the raw energy, violent humor, graphic inventiveness, and intellectual hard edge of the most compelling and vital magazine project of the modernist movement. That doesn't really tell me anything.
Other than it's a magazine, our good pal Seth has read it.
Oh, okay.
Did not leave any sort of review, but rated it 3 stars.
Okay. Let me text him right now, and I will ask him what he thinks of it, and then hopefully he gets back to us before the end of the episode.
Well, what time is it in the Great Down Under?
It's about 11, coming up on 11 p.m., I think.
Okay.
I think he's 12 hours ahead, maybe more.
I don't know if he's in Sydney, but it's currently 1 a.m. in Sydney.
Okay,
so
never mind. That's not happening. But
he's probably asleep.
I'll edit it in when he gets back to us about that. Editor Tony will make an appearance.
I have heard of Wyndham Lewis.
Okay.
Because he has a novel called The Apes of God, which is about this dilettante that kind of travels through the London art world. And I have heard of it because I had heard it was influential on William Gaddis.
Oh, cool.
And the recognitions. I don't know how true that is, so if I'm wrong, please don't crucify me. But
well, Seth is a big fan of modernist writing, so that checks out. And kind of fitting right in with that, the next book on here is The Bridge by Hart Crane and Thomas Vogler and Waldo Frank, which I probably would check out just based on Seth hyping up Hart Crane's poetry.
Yeah, that one I have read.
Oh, you have?
It's part of, not that particular edition that Bowie references, but it is part of the complete poems of Hart Crane, which I have read.
So it only took us 10 books in for one of us to have read something on this list.
Okay.
We're doing good.
Doing great. It's going to be our best episode yet.
The Insult by Rupert Thompson. Have you heard of this?
Nope.
Me either. Have you heard of Rupert Thompson?
Nope.
Nor have I. It is a Thursday evening after work. Martin Blom drives to the supermarket to buy some groceries. As he walks back to his car, a shot rings out. When he wakes up, he is blind. His neurosurgeon, Bruno Visser, tells him that his loss of sight is permanent and that he must expect to experience shock, depression, self-pity, even suicidal thoughts before his rehabilitation is complete. But it doesn't work out quite like that, and one spring evening while Martin is practicing in the clinic gardens with his new white cane, something miraculous happens. This does not sound like something I would want to read.
Yeah. I don't know.
It sounds like there's the rough plot to probably 1,000 different books.
Yeah.
That you might be able to buy on the shelves of Walmart.
There's a review in there that's 1 star, and I won't read the whole thing, but he basically said it's like reminded him of a Murakami book where plot centers around a middle class white guy, and nothing really happens to him.
Okay.
So,
all right. Transcendental Magic, the Doctrine and Ritual. Let's just skip over that because that's definitely a no.
is that a pentagram on the cover?
I don't know what that is. Private Eye, The First 50 Years by Adam McQueen. This sounds like nonfiction. And book description, book by McQueen, Adam. Okay.
This detailed, honest, funny. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
What, like,
Great book on the history of the private eye. I have zero interest in that. So
yeah.
Interviews with Francis Bacon. Okay, this could be cool. Controversial in both life and art, Francis Bacon was one of the most important painters of the 20th century. So I actually like books like this, which are interviews
Yep.
with artists, even if I'm not like a huge fan of their art or the medium itself. I think that they're interesting. One of my favorite books is interviews with Henri Cartier-Bresson, who was a famous photographer. Kind of like invented the quote unquote street photography genre. So, all right. Dictionary of Subjects and Symbols in Art. Again, this seems like a book that an artist would have and have gone through, but probably not something that we would read since we are not artists. Although you could argue that this podcast is a piece of art. All the Emperor's Horses by David Kidd. Are you familiar with this work or its author?
No.
I feel like the author's name is familiar to me. David Kidd lived in the city of Peking from 1946 to 1950. And in 1949, when the communists had just come to power, he married the daughter of an aristocrat and wealthy Chinese family and spent the rest of his days in the city living in his wife's family mansion. There he witnessed the disappearances of ancient China. The revolution quickly suppressed ancient traditions and old forms of life. Actually, this would probably be something I would read.
Yeah. It sounds like it'd be up your alley.
Yeah. Infants of the Spring by Wallace Thurman. Have you heard of this work or its author?
No.
Okay. We're doing great here. It's 1920s Harlem, and man, the joint is jumping. Folks are coming and going. Everything's copacetic as long as the gin keeps flowing. This is the scene Stephen Jorgensen dives into when he arrives from Canada for the first time. He's taken into the...
Don't say that.
Not going to say that word. The Manor, we'll just say, an apartment building in Harlem inhabited by aspiring artists. I would probably also read this.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Sounds kind of maybe somewhat similar to like Invisible Man.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it also kind of reminds me of just very loosely based on what we read here of Mumbo Jumbo.
Oh yeah, cool.
Which was really cool, really fun.
Yep. Let me mark that so I can drop those in. Teenage: The Creation of Youth Culture by John Savage. This would probably be very relevant for someone like David Bowie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was part of that
And
movement.
interested in culture.
Yeah.
So.
Strange People by Frank Edwards. With the proven evidence in this book, you have to believe. The Girl Who Could See with Her Nose and Ear. A Woman Who Came Back from the Dead. No, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm good.
Tales of Beatnik Glory by Ed Saunders. This sounds like something you would probably enjoy.
Maybe.
Okay, we'll just keep going here. 25 Years of Viz. Silver-Plated Jubilee. I don't even know what this is. We're just going to move past that. The Hidden Persuaders by Vance Packard and Mark Crispin Miller. Have you heard of any of this?
No, I haven't.
So far, David Bowie's got some pretty eclectic taste, which is
Yeah.
not shocking.
Not at all. Not at all. I think it's kind of. I just thinking about this as you read off. Like we've talked about this idea of being well read, both recently on the pod, in the past on the pod, in the Discord. It's kind of come up, and I'd like to think I'm at least somewhat well read and like aware of a lot of books, even if I haven't read them. But like, I have not heard of so many of these, and it's just another like, not that I feel bad about it, but it's just like, damn, there are so many books out there.
Well, that's kind of the point I always make, which is people will say, "Oh, I can't believe you haven't read this or that," and it's just like, dude, there's so many books.
Right.
There's just so many books. Somebody commented on an old. I got a notification this morning on an old podcast episode. I think it was. It was overrated books.
Yeah.
And somebody had like made a list in the comments of what they were, which is always so funny to me. Like people are like, "Oh, thank you for saving me the time," and it's like, guys, this is long form. Like the whole point is not just to give you a bullet list,
right?
It's to have a discussion about the things on the list.
Well, I just think about it too, like as we get to the top of this list, there's going to be a lot more books that just from what I saw, I was scrolling, they're going to be like recognized by most of our audience. But you know, if we're talking about like David Bowie, how boring would this list be if it was Dostoevsky, Tolstoy,
right,
Dickens, Jane Austen, like those, and those are all great books. I don't mean to like say that they're not, but like,
yeah, for sure. But speaking on Dostoevsky, that was on the list of our I put Dostoevsky as overrated. And so that's on this bulleted list that somebody made in the comments. And I just noted, I mean, the comment responding to this comment was a year old. And it was like, oh, thanks for saving me the time on this boring podcast. Dostoevsky overrated. What an ignorant take. And it's like, yeah, if you just look at this list out of context, I'm sure it could appear that way.
Right.
But on the flip side, somebody out there is probably could listen to this and be like, these guys are so not well read because they haven't read the Beano book 1960 by D.C. Thompson and Company Limited, which looks like a comic book with a interesting cover.
And zero full reviews. There's a handful of star ratings, but no actual reviews, no description, no nothing.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
The one before we actually skipped one, the Read Yourself Raw. That's also a comic. It looks like The Sound of the City: The Rise of Rock and Roll by Charlie Gillette. Have not read it. Probably.
I want to go back real quick to Read Yourself Raw because this says comic strips offer a surreal look at city life, death, television, alienation, art, tragedy, and love. Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm not much of a comic book guy, but Zanoni, a Rosicrucian Tale. Probably not saying that right. By Edward Bulwer Lytton.
A novel about the eternal conflict between head and heart. Pass.
Yeah, written in 1842. In Bluebeard's Castle, some notes towards the redefinition of culture. Looks like another kind of essay type thing.
Yeah.
Sweet Soul Music, Rhythm and Blues by Peter Warlinick. I'm out on that. City of Night by John Recchi. 1963 became a national bestseller and ushered in a new era of gay fiction. Bold and inventive, his account of the urban underworld of male prostitution is unflinching in his portrayal of one hustling young man. I would probably read this.
Yeah, that seems interesting. Yeah, pronounce that, Tony.
Awapabop Lubop Alapa Bam Boom. Our live audience is laughing from the other room.
Peanut gallery over there.
The Golden Age of Rock by Nick Cohn.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what's that song? What song is that from? That's from a song.
Somebody tell us.
Somebody look that up. Wop bop loobop wop bam boom. You never heard that?
Maybe. Probably.
I'm trying to. None of the rest of the lyrics are coming to me, but okay.
The Age of American Unreason by Susan Jacoby.
I mean, based on the title, it sounds interesting to me, but there's a lot of books that come out in kind of real time as things are happening politically in the world.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, like, people can construct really sensible sounding arguments But then if you read the book 30, 40 years on, it's like, well, you weren't really right.
Right.
And so what difference did reading the book make, I guess? And so I kind of feel like this was probably, I mean, Bowie was born in 47. So like his teenage reading years were like in the 60s, and his young adult was in the 60s and 70s. So I would assume a lot of the political stuff is kind of centered around that. The Life and Times of Little Richard. Not a huge fan of his music or him as a person.
Little Richard, that's where it's from.
Oh, is it a Little Richard song?
Tutti Frutti.
Tutti Frutti.
Okay.
All right. Look at that. Leave it to the oldest person in this building to know. You're welcome.
Jeez. I feel like I should leave after that one.
The 42nd Parallel by John Dos Passos. We know
I have read that.
you've read it.
I've read it.
Okay. So we're 2 books
It is
now.
leftist as hell. I really enjoyed it. I just kind of
Was it part of the USA trilogy?
yes, yeah, it's number 1.
Okay.
And I was a little bit, maybe 100 pages at the most, into the second book of the trilogy when I went to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
And then just didn't get around to picking it back up. I got kind of caught up reading like other things.
All right.
I'll get back to it eventually because I did enjoy number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I was enjoying the second one, and then pesky brain tumor got in the way.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we're 2 out of like 30 at this point.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Nowhere to Run: The Story of Soul Music by Jerry Hershey. I'm not super into soul music, so probably wouldn't interest me. English Journey by J.B. Priestley. In 1934, Priestley published an account of his journey through England from Southampton to the Black Country to the northeast and Newcastle to Lincoln, Norfolk, and Norwich. Yeah, this sounds like it could be cool. It would really depend on the strength of the writing itself.
Yeah.
The topic is fine, but like not like ooh, I have to read about that.
Yeah.
On Having No Head, Zen and the Rediscovery of the Obvious by Douglas E. Harding. That's going to be a no for me, dog. How about you, Andrew?
I feel like that's one of those books where like I'd see the title,
Yeah.
be like, oh, this could probably be interesting.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe this is just like me having my head too far up my own ass, but the rediscovery of the obvious, like I would start reading and be like, oh yeah, that's obvious. That's obvious.
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Yeah.
Maybe there'd be some kernels in there that would click, like things that are just so obvious that I have kind of ignored them.
Yeah.
And it would kind of be like, oh yeah, that is something that's important to think about or whatever. But like a lot of it would probably just
Yeah.
book that could be an email.
Yeah. A People's Tragedy, The Russian Revolution, 1891 to 1924 by Orlando Figes or Figes. Yeah, could be interesting.
Yeah, if you're into the Russian Revolution.
Yeah. Kafka Was the Rage, a Greenwich Village memoir by Anatole Brouillard, maybe.
So it's about Greenwich Village in the 40s,
Okay, I'm out.
which was pretty artsy scene.
Yeah. Now it's just like super rich, bougie.
Yeah.
The Selected Poems of Frank O'Hara. I don't know anything about Frank O'Hara, but I'm into poetry now, so sure.
Yeah.
This next book, The Trial of Henry Kissinger by Christopher Hitchens, I have not read, but I do own.
Okay.
So I will read. So yeah, we're getting
We'll
closer.
circle back to this one once you get around to reading it.
Yep. Puckoon by Spike Milligan. Interesting looking cover to
Yeah.
this one. It's a slapstick novel reissued for the first time since it was published in 1963. Yeah, this could be cool. It's about Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. So
I feel like I've never seen this book around. I feel like I've seen Spike Milligan somewhere.
the name definitely sounds familiar to me as well. Yeah. Earthly Powers by Anthony Burgess, who wrote A Clockwork Orange, right?
Yes.
Have you read anything from him?
Nope.
Nor have I. Journey into the Whirlwind by Eugenia Ginsberg, Paul Stevenson, and Max Hayward. Oh, Max Hayward's the translator. It's about communism, so I would definitely check it out since I'm a giant commie. The Origin of Consciousness in the Breakdown of the Bicameral Mind. At the heart of this classic seminal book is the controversial thesis that human consciousness did not begin far back in animal evolution, but instead is a learned process that came about only 3,000 years ago. I would actually be interested in reading that.
Yeah,
because,
I'm like interested in the idea of it, but again,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not smart enough.
Yeah. The Coast of Utopia by Tom Stoppard. Ever heard of it?
Nope.
Ever heard of Tom?
Nope. Man, we are on a roll.
We're killing
This is
it.
going to be our best episode yet.
I'm enjoying it. That's all that matters to me.
I don't care about you people. I'm having a great time.
This actually sounds kind of cool. The Coast of Utopia is Stoppard's long-awaited and monumental trilogy that explores a group of friends who came of age under the czarist autocracy of Nicholas I and for whom the term intelligentsia was coined. Among them are the anarchist Michael Bakunin, who was to challenge Marx for the soul of the masses, Ivan Turgenev, author of some of the most enduring works in Russian literature, the brilliant, erratic, young critic Vissarion Belinsky, and Alexander Herzen, a nobleman's son and the first self-proclaimed socialist of Russia. That actually sounds cool.
Yeah. This next one sounds kind of cool too.
What is it?
The Bird Artist by Howard Norman. It's about a guy who paints birds in a remote Newfoundland coastal village, and you learn in the opening paragraph that he murdered the lighthouse keeper.
I'm in, dude.
And it, throughout the book, he confesses what drove him to the crime.
I'm in.
Yeah, it sounds kind of dope.
Yeah. Before the Deluge by Portrait of Berlin in the 1920s. Mystery Train of America and Rock and Roll. Keep going here. Mauderer and the Complete Works. I'm out. In Between the Sheets by Ian McEwan. I've never read anything by him, but he's a pretty popular author.
He is.
I don't know if he's really for me, but
I believe I owned one of his books at one point.
okay. We'll leave it to our audience to chime in about that. The Divided Self, an existential study in sanity and madness. Meh. The American Way of Death Revisited by Jessica Mitford. This could be cool. Oh, it's about the funeral industry. Interesting.
Huh.
He read a lot of nonfiction. Sexual Persona, Art and Decadence from the Nefertiti to Emily Dickinson.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson's Cabinet of Wonder. Okay. McTeague, A Story of San Francisco by Frank Norris and Eric Solomon. All right, this looks like to be fiction. The Outsider by Colin Wilson.
Okay.
Never heard of it?
Nope.
Okay. It's about alienation, creativity, and the modern mindset. First published over 40 years ago, it made its youthful author England's most controversial intellectual. This could be cool. Inside the Whale and Other Essays by George Orwell. Well, I have read Animal Farm, 1984, and Homage to Catalonia,
Okay.
which I did not like, which was nonfiction. Probably, I'm not in a huge rush to read more of Orwell's nonfiction. So,
Billy Liar.
are you familiar with this one?
No.
Okay, you said it like you were. By Keith Waterhouse. That is.
Do not.
Neither do I. Billy Liar captures brilliantly the claustrophobic atmosphere of a small town. It tells the story of Billy Fisher, a Yorkshire teenager unable to stop lying, especially to his 3 girlfriends.
L.A.
Trapped by
dog.
his boring job and working class parents, Billy finds that his only happiness lies in grand plans for his future and Fantastical Daydreams of the Fictional Country of Ambrosia. That could be cool.
Yeah.
This list, I mean, unsurprisingly, is very kind of like British.
All over the place, too.
Berlin Alexanderplatz by Alfred Doblin. Man, these are some obscure books.
I've heard of that.
Okay.
I know a couple people that have read it or are currently reading it.
The book description's in German, so.
Well, NYRB has an edition.
Okay,
I've heard it's great.
cool.
I hardly know anything about it beyond that, but I've heard it's great.
The Gnostic Gospels by Elaine Pagels. About the roots of Christianity. I've had enough of that in my life. Mr. Norris Changes Trains by Christopher Isherwood. I've not read anything by Isherwood, but I want to read Goodbye to Berlin by him. He was a pretty influential gay author.
Right.
So I would definitely be interested in reading that. Room at the Top by John Brain. And it's got a woman's bottom in a dress kind of prominently displayed on the cover here. Ooh, it's ruthlessly ambitious, Andy. He rises swiftly.
I'm out.
From the petty bureaucracy of local government into the world of inherited wealth, fast cars, and glamorous women.
I'm out.
But betrayal and tragedy strike as the original angry young man of the 50s pursues his goals.
Oh, I'm out.
Okay. The Street by Anne Perry. Familiar with either of those?
No.
Poignant, often heartbreaking story. A young black woman and her spirited struggle to raise her son amid the violence, poverty, and racial dissonance of Harlem in the 1940s. I'd probably read that. The Quest for Krista T by Krista Wolf and Christopher Middleton. It's a lot of Chris's going on there. It was first published in Germany in 1968. There was an immediate storm. Bookshops in East Berlin were given instructions to sell it only to well-known customers professionally involved in literary matters. Interesting. On the surface, it's merely a story of a sensitive woman, the contours of silence that outline the things of articulately left unsaid, and loom large in the muted brilliance of this novel.
Okay, before we go on to the next one. You know how excited I would be if I walked into a bookstore and the bookseller was like, hey, I've got one I can only sell to you.
Yeah.
Like, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, that would be... We've joked about this before, like where we've gone to a bookstore and you come up to the register with your stack and the guy at the counter is like, good eye.
Yeah.
You know, you've got some good taste.
Yeah.
That feels great, especially when it's like a used bookstore in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you go into a bookstore and they're like, hey, I've got something secret.
Yeah.
No one else but you can have it. That'd be pretty cool.
Someday. That is the dream. Hawksmoor by Peter Ackroyd. I'm familiar with Peter Ackroyd, but I haven't read any of his books.
Yeah. One of your jams up next.
Okay, so count how many books we're in here, Andy, before we finally got to one that I have read. We got to be about halfway through the list at least.
Yeah.
Passing by Nella Larson. Definitely recommended. Great book. Harlem Renaissance book. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Last Exit to Berlin by Hubert Selby and Gilbert Sorrentino, who is the editor, and he wrote Mulligan's too, right? Mm-hmm. So I just
whole bunch of books.
Yeah, among others. Yep. So I'm familiar with Sorrentino. Few novellas have caused as much debate as Hubert Selby Jr.'s notorious masterpiece, Last Exit to Berlin, and this Penguin Modern Classics edition includes an introduction by Irvine Welsh, author of Trainspotting, described by various reviewers as a hellish and obscene story. It tells of New Yorkers who at every turn confront the worst excesses of human nature. I am in.
Yeah, sounds good. I've definitely heard of this one.
The next one?
No.
Last Exit. Oh. The Songlines by Bruce Chawton. Familiar with that?
Nope.
Me either. Money by Martin Amis.
I've heard of Amos.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about the book.
I've heard of the author as well, but I'm probably mispronouncing the name. So
I feel like he somewhat recently died.
let's look. Martin Amos, are you still alive? 2023.
Okay.
So R.I.P. Martin. He wrote Zone of Interest,
Okay.
which was recently adapted into a film.
Okay.
It's about like a Nazi family that's living. And I haven't read it or seen the movie, so I'm just kind of from what I understand. It's about a Nazi family living near to a concentration camp and kind of like how normal their life is, despite them being so close in proximity to such a terrible thing happening nearby. I've heard both the book and the film are excellent. So
Flaubert's Parrot by Julian Barnes.
is that next on the list?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar to me.
I mean, I've certainly heard of Flaubert.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard of Julian Barnes. I've seen his books out and about in the wild. I don't know much about either.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, I feel like I could probably pass on this one. I mean, if you're a fan of Flaubert, check it out. Or David Bowie, check it out. But
Yeah. Black Boy, Richard Wright. I have not read any Richard Wright, but I have Native Son, which is his most famous work, I would say. And I've heard it's excellent. Probably will read it in 2026. And so I would be open to reading something else by him as well. I've just heard he's a fantastic writer. Wonder Boys by Michael Chabon. I've read Moonglow by Chabon. Didn't love it. I've heard great things about his writing. I didn't think the writing was bad in Moonglow. I just kind of was like, didn't connect with it, I guess.
yeah.
Herzog by Saul Bellow. I have a copy of that. Have not read anything from Bellow
Neither
yet.
have I. I have one of his books. I don't think it's Herzog, but
Yeah. Supposedly a fantastic author. Vile Bodies by Evelyn Waugh. I don't think I've read anything from Evelyn. Have you?
I have not read any of his work. I believe I might have a copy of A Handful of Dust. I might not have it anymore. I think I ordered it online in the
Is he British?
probably. And there was like the standard edition cover was on the stock image they used, and then the book I got was like the movie edition cover that just looked awful.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to read this anytime soon.
Yeah.
Get out. I've actually almost bought a copy of this a couple times at Old Number 6. Not Vile Bodies, A Handful of Dust. And I forget every time I've opened it, there's like a dead bug squished on the title page. And I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. Nice. That's the charm of used bookstores sometimes. All right. Where are we?
People's History of the United States, 1492 to Present by Howard Zinn.
I've read it. Have you read it?
I haven't read it. I have a copy. I've had it for a while. And I remember when I was in high school, I want to say a freshman or sophomore, I had to write a paper about the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And I referenced that book pretty extensively
Nice.
in that essay.
Yeah, it's a good book.
If I remember correctly, the assignment was like, our paper had to be about, like, we had to take a stance, like, should they have dropped the bombs or not?
No.
And I think I was the only kid in my class of 20, 30, whatever, that was like, no, we shouldn't have. And I remember my teacher saying, like, yeah, as soon as I grabbed your essay, like, the first thing I did was look at the sources, and I saw you had People's History listed as one, and I immediately knew the stance you were taking. And I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to agree with you, blah, blah, blah. And then I read your paper, and I was like, he might be right. I was like, yeah, we shouldn't have bombed them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a discussion for another day. It's so funny. I have this friend that's like a pretty hardcore libertarian.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned it to you before. He's like gone so far right. He's like
Left
yeah.
now. Yeah.
But it doesn't realize it. And
Tale as old as time.
yeah, he hates Rage Against the Machine because he's one of those people that's like, oh, they're millionaires. Well, they're not. They don't really believe what they're saying. They're millionaires. And it's just like, okay, well,
Yeah, but they weren't millionaires when they were saying it.
right. And like I always say, it's like saying, hey, we should do something about this air pollution. Someone being like, oh yeah, if you don't like polluted air, why are you breathing it? And it's like, okay, you don't understand.
I saw a clip the other day of a comedian talking about how his crazy right-wing family and blah blah blah, and I was got an uncle that like doesn't care about climate change, and he was like, so I'm just going to tell him we need to care about climate change because that means the climate is trans.
Nice. But getting back to the point, I saw my buddy comment, because when you're on social media,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll show you like a post that your friends have commented on. He commented on a post from Rage Against the Machine, and he just said, Rage Against the Machine has always just been Howard Zinn with a wah pedal. That's for guitar. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds fucking rad, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
So yeah,
Like, is that, I think that's a dig? That sounds sick. Speaking of,
I believe that's kind of the point, actually, sir.
yeah. Speaking of music and Howard Zinn, Vinny Paz, the rapper, has a song called "You Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train," which is a reference to a Howard Zinn book.
Oh.
And a lot of the lyrics, I think, in that one and one other song, are actually like almost directly from people's
cool.
history. Yeah. One of my favorite rappers for sure. Okay. Night at the Circus by Angela Carter. Have you read it? Have you read anything from Angela Carter?
I have not. I've heard of her. I
Yeah,
haven't read
for
any
sure.
of her work. I feel like I have a book of hers.
Yeah. Darkness at Noon by Arthur Kessler. I have read this. I thought it was wildly overrated.
Okay.
It was
Moving-
okay, but
Moving on.
yeah. Which was a controversial take when I said that. The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. Shamefully, I've never read anything by Baldwin.
I've never read anything by Baldwin either. Not at all surprised to see it on Bowie's list.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely will at some point. The Day of the Locust by Nathaniel West. I feel like I've read something by him.
I have read this book.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
When?
A couple years ago.
Did you like it?
Sure. It didn't really, I enjoyed it. It didn't really leave me with any like lasting effects.
Yeah.
I feel like, not to say that it was a bad book, but I mean, it was originally published, I think, in the
1959.
Okay.
Oh, no, 1939. Excuse me.
Okay. So it's one of those books that like I could easily see when it was published. Like, yeah, it hit, but I probably read it 2 years ago, 2023, and like by that time, like is for everyone pretty well knows like how awful Hollywood is, which is more or less the point of the book, which was probably not very well known in 1940. So I'm sure for a lot of people, it was like, wow, this is really eye-opening stuff.
Yeah.
But you read it in 2023, it's like, yeah, of course they're all shallow pricks.
Right,
Like,
right.
water is wet, sky is blue.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, The Leopard by Giuseppe Tomasi di Lampedusa, who was Sicilian.
never heard of it.
Sounds kind of cool, actually. This next one I have read, The Sailor Who Fell from Grace from the Sea, or With the Sea, excuse me, by Yukio Mishima. Have you ever read any Mishima?
Nope.
It's good.
Cool.
I think it lives up to the hype. Okay, this next one.
We've both read
We've
it.
both read it. I think this is the
This is
first one
the first one
on the
that we
list.
both read.
Somebody do a tally on how far in we are, how many books in. White Noise by Don DeLillo. Fantastic book.
Fantastic.
I
Love that it's on Bowie's list.
Definitely. Probably my favorite David Bowie song is the one he did a collab with Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
I'm Afraid of Americans.
Yeah.
And like the vibe of that song, I think like fits with White Noise really well.
Unrelated to that,
Yeah.
it's just clicking now that we missed a great opportunity to open the podcast with Ground Control to Life on Books.
Oh, yep. Well, I'll edit it in.
Yeah.
As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. You haven't read any Faulkner? I can't remember. I know I have read some, and it was in high school, but there's multiple books that I read in high school that I just was not taking reading seriously at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was this one, but As I Lay Dying is also the name of a fantastic metalcore band. It was like a pioneer in the metalcore genre, named after the book, and very controversial band because they used to claim that they were a Christian metal band. And then the singer got arrested for hiring someone to kill his wife. And the person he hired ended up being an undercover police officer.
Yeah.
And then it came out that...
I mean, we've all been there before.
For sure, yeah. It came out that the whole, we're a Christian metal band was just like a gimmick because in that genre of music, like Christian metal was pretty big, actually. So up here in New Hampshire, I don't know if they still do it, but there used to be a giant Christian music festival called Soul Fest up at Gunstock.
Yeah.
And most of it's kind of what you expect musically, but they would have a stage just for the metal bands. And so I used to go because like bands that I would like would perform. And I actually saw the show from the stage one year because my buddy John, who was here Friday for my birthday, I don't know if you met him, but he's like my best friend from high school.
I've probably met him in the past. I didn't talk to him at all on Friday.
He's was in a bunch of bands that toured with bands like these, and so he was friends with some of the guys that were playing, and we watched the show from the stage. It was pretty cool. The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie by Muriel Spark, who I've heard of as an author, but I don't know anything about this book. Okay. Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. Know anything about that? Okay. The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. I have a copy of this. I've heard it's good. I probably will read it at some point.
I had a copy.
I think it might be Junot Diaz.
Maybe. I had a copy. I don't think I have it anymore. Because as much as I've heard it's good, pretty solid book, I just didn't see myself making the time to read it. So I unloaded it off the shelf.
Yeah.
And it's one of those books where it's not like it's some super rare, hard to find book.
Yeah.
You go to most bookstores, used or new, you'll see a copy. So it's one of those, like, if I really feel compelled to read this in the future, it'll be pretty easy to get. So for the time being, I'll make $6 and get it off the shelf, make room for something else.
This is going to sound extremely disparaging, and I don't mean it that way, but it's definitely one of those books that, like, people who don't read a lot of Big L literature think of as, like, Big L literature, and they're like, oh, I'm a very serious reader. Like, I read The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying those people's reading taste is bad. It's just, it's like, maybe a better way to put it, it's like a bridge book.
Yes.
It's not pop fiction, but it's not like something super obscure.
Correct.
The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. I've not read it in full. I've read some of it.
I have read it.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Enough.
Okay. I think most everyone's probably familiar with it at least.
Again, what am I going to do? Sit here and shit on T.S. Eliot?
I mean, you could.
I could, but...
Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. I've never read anything from D.H. Lawrence.
Neither have I.
But I've heard it's great. Would probably read it. Again, that's a type of book where, like, you go into almost any used bookstore, they're probably going to have a copy of it for $4.
Or some Lawrence for sure.
Right. So I've never been like super like, ooh, I have to grab this now.
Yeah.
But if it came up in like a group read or something like that, I would probably do it. A book that I know you've read and didn't like, A Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole.
Yeah.
I will read it at some point. You didn't like it,
I mean, there's
or you thought it
certainly-
was overrated?
I thought it was overrated. There's certainly some humor to it. The protagonist is a tool, which is kind of the point. Like he's supposed to be kind of a lovable dope.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't find it that lovable.
Yeah.
I just found him very obnoxious, and I was just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I certainly could see where a lot of people would find humor in it and enjoy the book. Just for me, I didn't.
It's like a cult classic for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I have not read.
I have.
Did you like it?
I liked it at the time. I'm not sure if I would like it as much now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have said this before. I forget how old I was when I read it. I know I had it was living in New Hampshire, so 24 at the youngest.
Okay.
And I think, I mean, who amongst us at that age didn't have that like wanderlust urge of like, I'm gonna just get rid of all my and hop in a jalopy with my friends
Yeah.
and drive across the country and try to enjoy life.
Yeah.
So I remember really enjoying it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I might still enjoy it if I reread it, but I don't know if it would have the same kind of effect.
Cool.
But
Have you ever read Inferno by Dante?
negative.
Oh, I have read it. I read it in high school. I remember thinking it was like hard to read, but I don't really remember much other than that. Speaking of our buddy Flaubert, Madame Bovary. Have you read it?
I have not.
Would you read it?
Probably not.
Okay.
I might have had a copy at one point. Heard the protagonist is really unlikable, which, as much as I've said in the past, like that's kind of the point sometimes. Like
Yeah.
the protagonist doesn't have to be a likable character.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the author's intention. I also reserve the right to not read books that
Yeah.
the main character is an annoying whiny bitch.
Okay.
The Iliad by Homer. Pass.
Yep.
Pass. In Cold Blood by Truman Capote.
I have a copy. I have your copy, as you mentioned
Yep.
before.
I didn't think I was going to read it, so I donated it to the library bookstore, and you bought it.
Yep.
The Sisterhood of the Traveling Truman Capote.
Yeah. I mean, it's considered like the book that kind of like started the true crime genre.
Yeah.
And I've heard it's well written. I've heard he's a good writer. So
Yeah.
I'll probably read it at some point.
Yeah. The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov.
Yeah. You've read it. I have not.
Yeah.
I want to read it.
I was pretty neutral on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe you'll like it better than I did.
Yeah.
I've said before, I think there are just parts of the book that went over my head.
Yeah.
But yeah. The Stranger by Albert Camus.
You think it's overrated.
Yeah.
I think it's overrated, but good. So it's funny. Like you can't mention that book on social media. It doesn't matter what you say about it. People will be like, "Oh, you didn't get the point." It's like, okay, bro, just
Relax.
chill out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I got the point.
yeah,
Just, it was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't like dislike it or anything like that. Like, I just think it's overrated.
yeah.
So,
As we've talked about before, things can be good and still be overrated.
right. Okay, next up, we've got Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov.
Neither of us have read that. Do you want to read it?
Maybe. I don't have any hard, like, for or against it. I mean, obviously, the subject matter is pretty touchy. So there are people that are like, you shouldn't read it because it's glorifying a pedophile,
Yeah.
which,
I would say those people don't understand it. Which, from what I, like, it's one of those books where my desire to read it is not super high because I just know so much about it because I've just come across
Right.
essays about it, and I've heard it broken down in detail in courses about storytelling.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So I'm pretty familiar with like what the book is about, what happens in the book.
Right. I have a copy. Excuse me. I have a copy. There's plenty of other Nabokov that I have that I would like to read.
Yeah, I think I'd probably rather read Pale Fire.
Yeah, Pale Fire, Ada. There are others that I cannot remember the title for the life of me.
Yeah.
That I would like to read. And maybe if I, absolutely love those, then we'll bump Lolita up the list.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not really for or against it at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
So up next, we talked about this one a little bit earlier when one of his other books was on the list. This is A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess.
I have a copy of it. I've seen the film.
I might have a copy somewhere. I could take it or leave it, honestly.
I've heard it is a good book, but one of the situations where the film is better than the book. So
I sort of feel like this one falls, and again, I haven't read it, but I kind of, from everything I've heard about it, and obviously it's a well-known book, I think to me, like it might kind of fall on the lines of what I was saying earlier about Day of the Locust, where, when it was originally published, like it hit.
yeah.
And it just might not have the same effect however many decades later.
Yeah.
Up next, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
I mean, a classic, probably maybe a little overrated.
I wouldn't disagree with overrated, and I know, I've kind of ragged against not so much the book, but fans of it.
Yeah.
I have gone on record saying if The Great Gatsby is your favorite book, you need to graduate high school.
Yeah.
And I stand by that.
Yeah.
But I certainly think it's a worthwhile read.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be gained from it. I do think, and it's not like a super challenging read either. I've read it twice in my life. I read it once in high school, and then I read it once probably shortly after I moved to New Hampshire. And this can be said about a lot of books, but I do feel like it's one of those books where as you gain life experience, like the meaning of the book and the takeaways from it change.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I would say it's certainly like a worthwhile read. I wouldn't, it's not something that I'm like going to make a point to read every 5 years or every 10 years, every year, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's possible that I might read it again in the future or something like that. I would say it's probably a little bit overrated, but also I think it's a very worthwhile read and a great book.
Yeah.
So certainly deserving of a spot on Bowie's list.
Yeah. Cool.
And then last up, we have 1984 by George Orwell.
Man, a fine book. I think Orwell's ability to predict the future is probably operating at a higher level than his ability to write. I guess, to me, there's nothing in the book writing wise that really blew my mind.
Right.
But if you think about when it was written and just like how accurately he predicted a lot of things, very impressive. His I guess maybe understanding of culture and human psychology was very good.
Yeah.
But maybe just, I don't know. A lot of people think he's a fantastic writer, and that's fine. I just didn't find the writing itself super compelling. I thought Animal Farm was better in that regard.
To me, it falls on the lines of what you were saying about Lolita earlier. About I've just heard so much about it, read so much about it. It is just referenced ad nauseum in the cultural zeitgeist that I'm just
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah,
I am arguably living out the plot right
Yes.
now. Big Brother is bad. I know.
Right.
They're listening to me right now.
I think
I get it.
I think the most apropos thing is there's these they live in a fictional world, a fictional country.
Yeah.
And at the start of the book, they're at war with Eurasia or something like that, and then there's Oceania.
Yeah.
is like an ally, and then like halfway through the book it like flips, and then it's like, oh, we've always been at war with Oceania, and it's like that we are literally living that. I mean,
Right.
I think if you look at like the Russia-Ukraine thing recently,
Yeah.
where it's like America has pretty much always made Russia out to be the bad guy, whether they are or not. I'm not commenting on that, but like that has been what the narrative has always been.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, our president says, oh, actually, Ukraine started this war.
Right.
And everyone's now bending over backwards to make excuses for Russia. And Russia's not really the bad guy.
Right,
and,
right.
oh, it's actually Ukraine. They did this and that. And it's like, holy. Yeah. Just crazy. The mental gymnastics that people do.
Yeah.
Okay. So overall, how would you rate David Bowie's reading list here?
Eclectic,
Yeah.
for sure. Certainly got a wide range of taste.
Yeah.
Which I think is very admirable.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be a pretty, like I said earlier, it'd be pretty boring if it was full of like super well-known stuff of like, you know, your Dostoevsky's, Tolstoy, Dickens, blah, blah, blah.
I'm actually a little surprised though that there wasn't a little bit of that on there. There was like
Fair. Yeah.
Orwell is probably the closest it gets, and it's like of all of the authors in that kind of category that you would put on the list, like I guess maybe Orwell's the most surprising that you'd pick that one.
Right. But also at the same time, like, you know, obviously there were a lot of books about art and music and things like that. It would also be a pretty boring list if that's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
So a good mix of, you know, books about art, books by artists about art, books about culture,
Mm-hmm.
and then fiction that heavily influences art and culture.
Yeah, I would say that unless you're a huge David Bowie fan and you really want to like fully understand the context of his music and his lyrics,
Right.
I don't see a whole lot of reason to like read
The whole list.
the whole
yeah.
list, because some of it is just so random.
Yeah.
It's not really like for readers. It's
Right.
for people who are into a particular decade of culture or a particular medium of art, which can be interesting topics, but from like a purely reading standpoint, maybe not that fulfilling. So, okay. You want to speed run Obama's list for
do
the
it.
for
Let's
the
do
club
it.
members? All right. So, if you are a book club member, you can head over to, well, actually, all of the bonus episodes can be listened to on any podcast platform now. And the link to join the club is down below. There's a lot of stuff going on there in addition to the bonus episodes. We're reading lots of books together. We're talking about all different types of things. So go join it. It's the best way to support the show, and we will see you next time.